So today we're down in the Polytunnel and we're going to be discussing why this tomato plant is a lot smaller than this tomato plant and why we're actually going to go ahead and start planting these in the Polytunnel earlier than we were normally expecting. Many of you will recall, if you watch my videos, is that these two tomatoes, they're both the same variety. They're both the burlesque beef tomatoes, and a few weeks ago they were both the same size. We potted them on and they were all the same size. Now this one we brought down and put into the greenhouse, so it's been subject to a lot more light, but it's obviously been cooler temperatures, whereas this one we left in the propagator. So it's had more, it's not had quite as much light, but it's had more consistent heat. So what you can see is the huge difference in the actual growth on this. Now you might think that actually this is great, this is massive compared to this one. But actually if you look at it, all that's happened is, if you look at this one, the actual seed leaves are here, and it's grown up and it's started to produce its true leaves only like a centimetre above the other leaves, and it's quite a nice little sturdy little plant. Whereas this one, because it hasn't had as much light, even though it's in the with the grow lights, it's not natural light, and it's similar to ones that we've got at home where we've put them in trays by the windowsill, because they don't get the full, in the greenhouse they get a full day's worth of light, whereas even on the windowsill they actually get the light when the sun's coming through the window. It's slightly more dispersed through the window, and then when the sun's gone over it, it's not quite as light in the windowsill. But what's actually happened here is that the seed leaves have come up to here and they've grown up, and then there's a massive difference between that and the true leaves at the top here. So which is the better plant? It's arguably I'd probably say that although this is grown on more, this is a better plant for actually planting on. It's more sturdy and robust and lower down. But we're not going to use these ones. We're going to put these ones in because we've got a little trick that we can use here to actually make these nice and sturdy like the other ones. So we're going to get on and sort of start planting these and in the Polytunnel. Now the reason that we're going for this early, we normally wouldn't go this early, it's still, temperatures are still dropping down to 0 and just below 0 in the evenings here. But actually in the Polytunnel we can actually put over, if it gets really cold, we can put the paraffin heater on, or actually even when it's negative temperatures, sort of -1, -2 outside for a few hours, inside the Polytunnel it actually just doesn't stay that cold. And with it being on soil as well, the soil will warm. The soil that's actually captures the heat during the day will actually keep these plants a little bit warmer in the actual Polytunnel than they would otherwise. So we're going to get on and start planting these, and I'm going to show you the trick to make sure that this plant doesn't stay all leggy and we get a nice good growth on it. So we've actually got 17 different varieties of tomato this year, which is quite a lot. So we've got enough room for like sort of one of each, sort of 8 down one side, 8 down the other, and then we'll put one in the middle. I've tied these strings up to the beams at the top, and they'll act as the support strings. So let's get on and plant the first one and show you how we're going to do that, and then we can I'll go along and plant all the other ones. So in this bed we've got all our dripper feeds, and we've also got these little pots, and these are just terracotta pots. They've got like a cork in the bottom of them, a rubber cork, and they're the water in those, so they actually act as a part of the feed. So they actually put water in there, and then the water from the terracotta pot soaks into the soil. Now we're not going to put the dripper feeds on quite yet, so we're going to actually water these, if you like, manually for the first few days, just so that we can judge how much they need. So first one is going to go in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig out of here quite a deep hole. Okay, so I'm going to put that string, I'm going to bury that string down into the bottom. Now this string doesn't need to be taut, because all the pressure on it is coming from downwards, so it just needs to be in the ground, so it's fixed down there so it's not flapping around. Now, with these tomatoes, if you look closely, what you'll see is that all the way up this stem there's little hairs and filaments coming off. Now, tomatoes will actually grow roots from all up their stalk. So what you can actually do is, these here are the seed leaves. They're not the true leaves of the plant, they're just the initial "hi, I'm here" leaves. So what we're going to do is going to take that out, and you see there's a little bit of root structure in there, and we're going to put that down into the soil, down into there. And then what we're going to do is actually plant this all the way up and past those leaves, so that we've just got the very top of the plant coming out. And then don't forget, let's put the label in at the front so we know what we're growing. And then that will be just there, and as it grows up we'll just wind it round the string. So we're going to carry on with all the rest of those. So we've got leggy plants, especially tomatoes. Just plant them down deeper now. Well, that root will actually, when I put my hand down in the bottom there, it's still quite moist down in the bottom there, which is ideal. It's only the top inch or so that's actually dried out. Now that plant will carry on growing. What it'll do is it will push out roots from those sides of that stalk, and then these true leaves will carry on up into the rest of the plant. So I'm going to carry on and get the rest of those done. So that is one down, another 16 to do. So I'm going to carry on and get those 16 planted, and then we'll have a quick look round afterwards. So let's have a quick look round and look at the different varieties we've got all planted up in the greenhouse, in the polytunnel. Let's start down the far end here. So starting down the end here, we've got a Sweet Millions. Now, not always the tastiest of tomato, but they are a reliable cropper. Moving down, next one down is the Sun Gold Cherry, part of the Sun Gold family, which is a sort of orangey, ready sort of colour, cherry tomatoes. These are new variety. This one here is a new variety that we've not tried before. This is a Yellow Submarine. So there's quite a few new varieties we've got this year. This one here is another new variety, which is called Tutti Frutti. So we'll see what that is. And next to it is another new variety for us, which is Lemoncillo, or Tito, is it? Lemoncito. So little lemony cherry tomatoes. Then we got one here that is Indigo Pear. Beautiful little tomatoes. They sort of start off a yellow and then they go sort of a burgundy sort of colour, sort of mauvey colour on the bottom. Absolutely lovely. Here another new one. This is the Golden Bumblebee, which is a sort of mottled sort of yellowy red tomato. And then another new one down here, which is an orange. It's orange too, so it's like a little orangey cherry tomatoes. Down in the middle here, just hidden in amongst the pak choi, is the spare 17th tomato, which is a Sweet Cassidy, which is a beautiful tomato. Over here we've got a Black Moon. Now Black Moon is it's a sort of medium-sized tomato it grows into. Very dark in colour, but absolutely bite into it and it's all nice red and fleshy in the middle. Absolutely beautiful tomato. This is another new one. Oh, Happy Days. Again, we'll see how that gets on. Then there's got a Brandy Boy Beef tomato. Again, we don't use many beef tomatoes, but it's nice to have a couple of plants for those. Next to that is a nice reliable Crimson Crush, part of the Crush type family of tomatoes. And then we've got another Burlesque Beefsteak tomato, and they're like lovely big juicy tomatoes. Moving on down, here we've got another one, part of the new one to us, but it's part of the Crush family, which is Cocktail Crush. And then we have this one, which is the Samaranzo. That is just one of the best tomatoes I think ever. It's like a plum type of tomato. Flavour in it is absolutely gorgeous. It's really, really lovely. And then we've got this other one, which is a fork hook early. So we were just going to see how that goes on, because we've never grown those before, but we'll see what the flavour's like and how early we actually get them. Implying by its name fork hook early is that maybe they will get an earlier crop off them than the others, but we'll wait and see. So that's our 17 tomato varieties in. Hopefully they'll survive any cold evenings we have in here. Now they've grown on a little bit. If they don't, we've still got the spares in the greenhouse, and we've also still got some spares at home. So we're not really losing anything by putting them in nice and early, and it gets to all the plants, starting to get the plants out of the house, because they're all starting to get a bit big. They're taking over the place, and it's driving the rest of the family mad. So get the plants out of the house, get them down here. We're also going to be starting bringing down some of the pepper plants to put in the greenhouse, because the other pepper plants, we tried some pepper plants down here to see how they fared in the greenhouse and see if they got frosted off or not. They seem to have done all right, so we'll get the other ones that have grown in the same situation as we've got with the tomatoes. Ones that are in the greenhouse, nice little sturdy plants, not as much growth as the ones that are at home, which are big, nice, loads of growth on them, but they are quite lanky in terms of their height. So we'll see when we can bring them down, which is best to pot on. We might pot on a few of each and see how they work out for the rest of the season. But for me, and today, I'm going to just get the watering can and just water these tomatoes in, really just to loosen the soil around them to actually get it to all go down. And I shall catch you next time, and we'll be marvelling at the growth on the tomatoes and not sitting in tears because they've all died off. So until next time, see you again.